Hey folks, welcome to Unqualified, the fantasy football podcast that's been spilling General Tso's chicken all over their keyboard since 2017. I'm your producer, Rob Diesendorf, here with Sean Brady and Scott Johnson, two fantasy football rivals that have been sabotaging each other for years, but they decided to come together to help you win your league and make your friends look like idiots. How's it going, fellas?
Terrible visual from that intro.
Not a fan of that visual. But you changed we were just talking about how you pronounce it, and you changed it. Do you think that's more like socially acceptable to say Sows, General Sows?
I think it's definitely supposed to be pronounced General Tso's, but when you don't have time to cater to people's ethnicities and races, then maybe you start to say Chow.
Gotcha.
I mean, I'm a General Tso's guy. I just say it like that. I don't think anyone would really be super offended by me saying it like that. I will say though, it's one of the very few foods in the world that I would eat off a keyboard because it's that good.
Ooh, gross. You know how dirty keyboards are, low key. Just like your fingers every single day, and they've been touching them, and like you don't wash your keyboard every day. You know what I mean?
They are dirty, but also, and even to add to it, the consistency of the General Tso's chicken is just sticky, so it's going to grab everything off that keyboard.
That is actually the worst when a keyboard gets like sticky dirty.
The General Tso's chicken is hitting the keyboard and going, "No, I'm taking all of this!"
It's like Rory Scovel when he's talking about the Frisbee.
No! It doesn't want to let go. Don't take me back! No! Oh!
So General Tso's. You don't have to say the T either. You could just say Sows. General Sows.
Yeah, you could say sow instead of chow.
Sows.
And what is a sow? A cow, right?
Exactly.
And what is General Tso's chicken? It's chicken.
The general of the cows.
And what do chickens and cows have in common? You eat them.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
It's simple math. It's very easy math.
That's how it works.
So what's going on right now in fantasy football? I just lost to Scott by about 4 points, and I'm pretty pissed off.
Oh, are you pissed finally?
Now I'm pissed.
Just imagine going into Monday. Just imagine going into Monday night up 30, and you have that stupid piece of shit James White, who just fucking annoyingly. He's like a gnat, mosquito, wasp combo. That annoying. That level of annoyance, and in 5 minutes of the fucking game, he gets 10 points, and I'm just like sitting there, like, are you kidding me?
Poor Scott just wanted to go to sleep early with a terrible Monday night game on, and he just stayed up the whole night texting me, freaking out about James White. And I don't blame you. I would have done the same thing.
Yeah, it was
luckily
nerve-wracking.
you came out with the W. So
horribly nerve-wracking. And then it's like 6 minutes left. They get a pick six, the Patriots, and I'm texting Sean like, they have to take out White, right? They have to take out White.
Yeah,
like he can't be in the game now, right? And Sean's like, I don't know, dude. Like, just watch the fucking game. I'm like, I can't. What do you mean? Just put in Kenyon Barner. And that guy gets 2 carries. So James White's like, I don't know, 10 and fucking 12 catches.
If I beat you, what would have happened? What would have been going through your head?
I don't think we would be doing this pod right now. I would have taken the day off from work. Would have been royally pissed.
mental health day, much needed.
Mental health day.
Pissed. I'm pissed.
I actually would have been angry. I would. I don't know how angry you are right now to lose to me last night or this week, but
I'm mad.
I don't want to assume,
because
but I think I would have gotten angrier than you.
I'm mad because it was close and because one of my players let me down.
Who?
I can't remember.
He blocked him out of his memory.
That's exactly why I would have been angry beyond belief. You don't remember the fucking guy that didn't do well for you. I know exactly like how many points Jared Cook got, 17.4, and this is full point PPR. Kerryon Johnson only got 15.8, and I could have played Kenyon Drake. This is a psychotic memory you have when you care too much about fantasy football, I guess.
Well, it's I don't even know what week it is. This happens every episode. I never know what time it is, where I am, what's happening, and what sport it is. I don't know. I don't know these things, so I need you guys to tell me.
A little bit of foosball?
Yeah.
Well, we're officially halfway through the NFL regular season, so I think it's a good time to take stock of some like broader trends that are starting to poke out I know Scott has been really on top of running games lately. Honestly, more so than I have. I've been just enamored with the passing offenses around the league, but Scott has really been hitting the ground running on these running games. So Scott, talk to us about those.
Oh, hitting the ground running. Oh my God, let's go. Dad jokes. Yeah, it really happened. So I am seeing a trend in, I don't want to say most of the teams, but I'll say half of the teams, and I'll break down which ones they are. Seeing a trend in running game and like the breakdown of carries between each team. So, you look back like 10 years ago or even 5 years ago, you really had bell cow backs that were carrying the load for the team. So you had Marshawn Lynch on Seattle. You think Doug Martin on Tampa Bay. All these players that were, I don't want to say they were do-it-all kind of players because Marshawn Lynch didn't catch a ton, but he was like the main guy. So you still have that in pockets in the NFL now. You have like the James Conner who came out of nowhere kind of. You have David Johnson who's technically a bell cow, but he's really underperforming to the nth degree this year. So you do have those pockets of bell cow backs. And we had mentioned this in the offseason, but what you're seeing in like, I would say 16 teams, basically like half the league is you have a plotter, a first and second down plotting running back who takes like the brunt of the carries. And then you have a third down back, and it's the roles are really, really rigid. The third down back is not getting carries on first and second down. The first and second down back is not really out there on third down catching passes. So you look at New England, right? You have Sony Michel, who's getting like the first and second down carries, not really getting a ton of catches. You have James White on the third down. You have Indianapolis, Marlon Mack, and Naheem Hines. Same kind of roles. Jacksonville, Carlos Hyde now, and / Leonard Fournette whenever he comes back, and then TJ Yeldon on third down. The Jets, Crowell and Powell before he went down with injury. Miami, Gore and Drake. So you see all these backfields, like Tennessee, Seattle, even the Chargers to a smaller degree, Houston, Detroit, Washington, Green Bay, Philadelphia. They all employ this, and it doesn't bode well for fantasy purposes in terms of like when you had those bell cow backs. But it is something to consider when you're drafting moving forward. If your team is under that kind of guise of first, second down back, and then a third down back to catch balls, you need to temper expectations. And I mean, PPR, these are the backfields that you really want to like trade for and buy low on.
Yeah, I mean, I actually kind of like what this does in terms of fantasy because I think when other people see like just a crisis, like a lack of options, I think this is actually more options for us. It's just a matter of picking the right ones. And I think the NFL is becoming more and more of a matchup league every year. We're seeing it even with wide receivers having more defined roles this year. And instead of having like that select number of heavy usage guys, those bell cows, and then just crossing your fingers, hoping you avoid injury, and that's how you win your league, now you really have to strategize and pick up guys from a wider range of options and let your own knowledge of matchups lead the way. So when we see a team that has Deion Lewis and Derrick Henry, I mean, just pretend they're both not terrible this year, going into a game against the Saints, who have the top run defense in the league, obviously Deion Lewis is the one you're going to favor there just because he's more of a passing down back. Knowing that stuff and knowing the matchups really lends itself to success this year, which I kind of like because that means more effort equals more success, which is how it should be.
Yeah, and exactly. And like we had said a couple weeks ago, I think when the Redskins were playing the Saints, we said Peterson wasn't a great play. Didn't have a great game. That was more of a Chris Thompson game because there's a lot of dump-off passes, and the Saints were a really good rushing defense. So you can kind of pick and choose. You're absolutely right. You can pick and choose like based on the matchup. If it's a good running, matchup or a bad running matchup, you could pick if you're going to play that first and second down plotter or not. Yeah, I agree.
And then one other thing, this broad trend that it hasn't happened yet, but it's starting. We've seen the opening salvo. We cannot ignore the first coaching change this year. Hugh Jackson and Todd Haley out in Cleveland, which we are going to get to, I promise you, when we talk about the Browns game this week. But before we even go further, Scott, what the hell? Who fires the coach and the offensive coordinator? What is going to happen with this Cleveland offense?
I mean, I'm sorry, but like, you fire him in the middle of the year when you have a rookie quarterback, and you've been competitive. You have 4. Let me break this down for you. So you have a guy, and nothing against him. Like he's just not a good coach. He had a stint in Oakland when he took over for Dennis Allen got fired. I think didn't do well in Oakland. We're talking about Hugh Jackson here. Then you give him 2 years in Cleveland. He goes 1-31.
Yep.
Is that right?
Yeah, first 2 years.
Yeah. So then this year, fast forward, get some off-season acquisitions. You get the first overall pick. You get the fourth overall pick. You get some players there. Finally put Baker in. He's showing some flashes. Todd Haley is a proven offensive coordinator. He's actually a proven head coach too. And you go into overtime 4 games. You play the Chargers. The Raiders suck, but you play the Steelers twice. You play did they play the Bengals yet? I don't know if they played the Bengals yet. You have one of the toughest divisions in football. You go 2-5-1, which it's actually not horrible. It's better than what we thought there would be. And in the middle of the year with a rookie quarterback, you fire your head coach and offensive coordinator. Just how does that make any sense? Just fire him in the offseason and clean house. It doesn't make any fucking sense.
You know, I just want to say, first of all, you got to give huge credit to Hugh Jackson for taking time off of playing Wolverine in the X-Men series to even try to coach an NFL team.
It's a big change.
And the audacity of them to fire him on his first try, I don't know, it's upsetting to me.
He gave his blood, sweat, and tears out there. I agree.
I just want to say, I saw Rob getting ready to talk, and I was not disappointed. That was not at all what I thought was coming.
I was pretty excited. I was like, I don't know where this is going. And then you started it with I just want to give Hugh Jackson credit. I was like, did he watch Hard Knocks? Did he just read up in it? What is he going to come up with here? Holy shit.
I did watch one episode.
Nice.
I got to say, I cannot move on without pointing out that nice cross-discipline comparison here. At least one Cleveland Browns player was reported as referring to Hugh Jackson as Michael Scott from The Office. That's what they compared him to. Never a good sign. As much as I love Michael Scott,
nope.
That's not what you want your head football
not
coach
as a leader.
That being said, all this talk kicks off what I think is going to be a very interesting coaching change carousel throughout the rest of this year, obviously in the offseason. All I know for sure is that whoever gets Lincoln Riley is getting the next Sean McVay or Kyle Shanahan type. I spent way too much time this week geeking out over some of his play designs for Oklahoma's offense last year, this year. I really hope he doesn't go to Cleveland. That's all I'm going to say. That dysfunction can tank any coach, any quarterback. I think Green Bay, maybe Houston would be really nice landing spots for the next bright offensive mind in this game.
I have a question going on the coaching change, because it affects fantasy not too much, but it actually, it does when you change schemes and stuff like that. And it's kind of tough when week to week you're trying to figure out what the changes will be. But who do you think's the next head coach to go? Who's the hottest on the hot seat right now?
Oh man, I would say I would say those two that I just mentioned, honestly. Even though both those teams are very good, they're still underperforming. And if one of them falls off a cliff in the next couple of weeks, Green Bay or Houston, I think McCarthy or Bill O'Brien. I think those are the two hottest seats right now. I would normally say Gruden, but he's locked in for the next 10 years.
He's there for a while. Yeah, he's going to get at least 5 years there, I think. To me, it's like Steve Wilkes on the Cardinals. Yep. I think Shanahan in San Francisco is pretty safe. Same kind of thing with Gruden. They invested a lot in him, and they just had some bad injuries, even though the defense is brutal, and that should be good. And I actually think the two New York teams, Giants and Jets, Pat Shurmur and then Todd Bowles, are on the hot seat. Pat Shurmur going 1-7, doesn't have control over that locker room. They're just a mess. Past 2 years, 4-18 or 4-19 or something.
Yeah.
And then the Jets aren't much better with Todd Bowles. He's just not an offensive coach. I don't know. I think those two are probably due.
I never even considered the possibility that we get Lincoln Riley. Scott, you need to. I know you're not a big college football guy, and I'm not either.
Oklahoma, right?
Just check out a couple highlights and just the designs he puts in. It's crazy. It's literally what you see when you watch Sean McVay's offense, where you're just like, what are they doing? It's incredible.
Yeah, he was Baker's coach, right?
Yep, that's him.
Yeah. Well, he did come out yesterday and say I don't want to go to the NFL right now. I'm not ruling out anything, but I'm happy at Oklahoma. But we know how that goes. Could very well be there in a couple weeks. You want to get into some trades here? We had some. So the trade deadline was October 30th at 4 p.m., and we had a flurry of stuff going on. It reminded me of the NBA, honestly, because the NFL trade deadline always sucked. But a couple of big notable ones that we'll talk about. Demaryius Thomas to the Texans for a 4th-round pick, and then they swapped 7th-rounders. So Will Fuller lost for the year, tore his ACL for the Texans. What do you think of Demaryius Thomas's stock with the Texans and Deshaun Watson? 5-3 now.
I mean, he gets a quarterback upgrade, so that definitely helps Demaryius Thomas's stock. I think he's a little bit more dependable now. I'm not going to go nuts and say that he's in like every week must start. He's like a very high end flex, I would say, at the moment, with higher upside. Obviously, we know his pedigree. It's just a matter of how he fits in, how quickly he moves in there. I'm most excited for Cortland Sutton coming out of this deal, though. He's incredible.
Yep, I agree. And they were actually trying to shop Sanders around too, which means to me that they have the utmost confidence in Cortland Sutton. So he's an immediate pickup. If you haven't gotten him already on waivers, which hopefully you put in a claim, pick him up immediately. Another big trade: Golden Tate to the Eagles for a 3rd-round pick. What do you think of this?
I like this as a football move for the Eagles a lot because I think they really needed that. Like, obviously they have Ertz there, but they need to diversify a little bit. They're really starting to catch. They have to catch the Redskins. They're just a better team, and there's no excuse for not catching the Redskins at some point this year. So, Golden Tate is a playmaker. I mean, he hasn't been the most exciting player on Detroit, but I think with Wentz there, I don't think it hurts his stock too much at all. It's just a matter of how quickly he fits in.
Yeah, I think this does actually hurt. I don't think it hurts Ertz enough. I think it does hurt Aguilar, whatever draft stock he had. So I don't know. I would probably drop him. I think Tate, I don't know. I foresee less target share. Ertz is the guy there basically, and then Jeffrey is like the deep threat and number one prototypical receiver. Tate's like an extension of the run game, which I think this is partly why they did that, because the run game is up and down so badly. And they're 4-4. They're putting all their cards on the table. So I think this really helps the Eagles. I think they're going to vault up to the top in the NFC. Not the top team in the NFC, but maybe looking at like a 10-6 season the rest of the way. So a good couple of games coming up. But yeah, I think it's actually on the flip side, Marvin Jones and Galladay. That's huge for them, but I don't know that it actually helps Stafford. I think Golden Tate was like his one of his safety valves. So maybe they're going to throw it to running backs more. Maybe Theo Riddick will get some more plays. I mean, he hasn't even been out on the field really. I feel like Theo Riddick.
I think they might just be going more traditional, and they might be leaning on Kerryon Johnson and just more of a downfield passing attack anyway. So I think this helps more than anyone Marvin Jones' stock. We saw this past week he went off, and he's been good in years past, and now this just opens things up for him. He's going to be getting even more of a large target share. So I definitely like this for Marvin Jones owners.
Yeah, and then we got one more pretty notable one quickly before we go into record check-ins. We got Ty Montgomery from the Packers going to the Ravens. What do you take of this?
What position is he going to play? That's really I don't even know what they see him as. So if he's a running back, I actually really like this for the Ravens because they're kind of like Buck Allen's not getting it done. I mean, I know he had a couple touchdowns early in the year, so they might be moving towards like that split that you were talking about earlier with Alex Collins and then Ty Montgomery being that like passing down, 3rd down back, which could work for them. I mean, they've taken in journeyman guys for the entirety of this offseason and put together a nice offense. So Ty Montgomery could just be the next piece.
Yeah, love that. All right, so that was the big trade deadline stuff. Let's quickly get into record check-in, and then we're going to do a little quick segment before the teams on bye. We're going to do top 2 pleasant surprises of the year per position. So before that, record check-ins. I was 29-20 going into last week. I went 5-2 this week, so 34-22.
That's a good week.
Bad. Love that. Yeah, finally. 2 losing weeks in a row. I was reeling a little bit.
Yeah, same with me. I finally got off the schneid, if you will, and I finally had that 3-0 week, and now I'm 16-8, so back on track. I'm feeling much better this week, if you can't tell.
You seem like it.
I don't know what my record is.
I think we figured it out for you. I think it's 7-9. You were 6-8 last week. I think you went 1-1. Well, I know you went 1-1 because I beat you in Hoboken League.
Not too shabby.
How's that feel?
It hurts.
Yeah, sorry. He was just staring at me. I thought he was gonna. All right, so really quick, you want to do pleasant surprises, or teams on bye? We can do the teams on bye really quick. Sean, what do you think?
Yeah, let's fly through those because there's a lot of them, and we got a bunch of games to get to. So let's look at these teams on bye. These actually really good fantasy offenses for the most part. We have the Bengals, the Colts, the Eagles, and all 3 of those are very viable. And then you have the Giants, the Jaguars, and the Cardinals. Each of those kind of has like 1 or 2 guys you're looking at. So definitely a lot of fantasy starters with 6 teams on bye that you're going to need to replace this week.
Yep. And we're going to do a new segment really quick before we get into the games. Top 2 pleasant surprises of the year per position. So Sean and I were talking about this, and there's been some guys that have drastically outperformed their draft stock, or even weren't even drafted and now are starters. So we're going to get into each position, 2 each, looks like. Or maybe, yeah, I have 2 each. For quarterback, I have Mitch Trubisky and Phillip Rivers. And then running back, James White and Marlon Mack. Wide receiver, Cooper Kupp and John Brown. And then tight end, David Njoku and O.J. Howard. So looking at Trubisky, he's a top 10 quarterback right now. And again, might be the Jared Goff of last year. Phillip Rivers, 4 interceptions all year. Crazy productive and not making any mistakes. And those top three targets for him are 3 of the best in the league. And then James White, he's annoying as shit to play against. So he's a surprise for me. Marlon Mack, finally looking like the guy there in Indy. And then Cooper Kupp and John Brown coming out of nowhere, kind of as like what we thought was the third options in both offenses, and looking like at least the number 2s. And then David Njoku just put a goose egg up, but hopefully the change in offensive coordinator and head coach helps him. O.J. Howard has been extremely productive. I think he had 4 targets and 4 catches last week. So all of those guys are pretty big surprises for me.
Oh, yeah. And, I mean, I got to give you credit. We both, I think, can take a little stock of Pat Mahomes here. He is the number 1 pleasant surprise of the year, without a doubt. So just keep doing your thing. Absolutely. I mean, Pat, if you're listening to me, you're my homie for life. Just keep it up. Okay, so my surprise quarterback of the year, outside of Mahomes, obviously, is Andrew Luck, who has quietly been the number 1 quarterback in fantasy over the past couple of weeks and has been lights out. He had a rough couple games to start the year, but he was, getting the rust off. He's been outstanding lately. I don't know, outside of Mahomes, there's not anyone I feel more confident in week to week than Andrew Luck right now. So definitely excited about him. Chris Carson, who I just randomly locked into off of waivers in one of our leagues, is just such a pleasant surprise. I did not expect anything from him, and he's been phenomenal the last couple weeks. And then Kerryon Johnson. I mean, he has the ability to vault himself into that bell cow territory very soon if they keep feeding him the ball. Making Detroit a watchable team with a good running back, that's quite a feat. So Kerryon Johnson, hats off to you. Wide receiver wise, Juju Smith-Schuster has been outstanding. He's cooled off a little bit lately, but considering where you drafted him, you got to be excited about having Juju on your team. And then Sammy Watkins, who right now is sitting on Scott's bench in Hoboken because he drafted well, but I mean, he was DOA last year. He wasn't used heavily at all with the Rams. He scored a bunch of touchdowns last year, but he did not get the same love that he's getting this year. Sammy Watkins, he can take over a game, and looks like his injury woes are finally behind him. Very excited for him. And then tight end wise, I know I rave about how much I hate tight ends every week, but Eric Ebron and George Kittle have been really fun to watch. Ebron, I think, is going to start to fade away with Doyle back, which kind of sucks, but Kittle he's that number 1 option on that team right now. So I'm very excited about George Kittle. He's another one of my boys. I'll have him in many leagues moving forward, I would imagine. Okay, let's get right into the primetime games. And this week we have an Oreo cookie. If an Oreo cookie, the outsides were absolute garbage and the inside was just, your typical Oreo cookie cream. So we're going to start with the Thursday night game, which is one of those garbage games. The Raiders taking on the 49ers. Yikes. Ugh. Back to the Thursday Night Football we all know and hate. It's been such a treat so far this year, but this game will 100%, without a shadow of a doubt, suck. On the Raiders side, I mean, Jared Cook's a top 5 tight end right now, which is pretty cool. And then on the other side, George Kittle is really a really fun player to watch. So those are the only 2 I really have confidence in this entire game.
Yeah. I mean, in PPR leagues, like deep league, I don't even want to say deep, 10 or 12 league PPR leagues, Jalen Richard is not a bad option for all these bye teams, right? You have 6 bye teams, so he's not bad. He's gotten more than 5 catches a few times in games this season. And his workload did increase once Marshawn Lynch kind of went out, and I didn't think it would increase that much. So he's a good sneaky option, but yeah, no one else. I mean, Jordy Nelson got 1 freaking catch as the de facto number 1 guy, so forget about him. Martavis Bryant, forget about him. And then 49ers, if Breida healthy, he's just a flex option. Most start is not roster roll as long as Breida is healthy. So that's literally it.
Yeah,
2 bad defenses too. So use the good matchups, Richard and the tight ends. That's about it.
Yeah, I mean, maybe take a flyer on Marquise Goodwin, but I mean, 1 catch last week. I know it was a spectacular one, but you just
can't rely on it.
Keep your eye on him. He might be an ad in maybe next week, maybe the week after. Just don't be surprised if he works his way back into lineups. But now let's get to the the prize of the primetime games this week. And this one is one of the few games I am like 100% watching every second of this year. This is the meeting of the GOATs. They've only played once against each other before. The Packers at the Patriots. That's right. Aaron Rodgers traveling to Foxborough to take on Tom Brady. I don't know how they've only played each other once in their careers, which is
it doesn't make any sense. That's crazy.
I mean, Green Bay won back in 2014. That was the one and only time they played. I don't know. I mean, I can't wait to watch this happen, honestly. And I don't know if you've seen this. If you haven't seen this, listeners, go check it out. Michael Jordan made a promo for this game and was talking about how, it's the, which one's best. You got to let them play it out. They even wear the same jersey number. Everyone thinks he's talking about LeBron, calling him out, but it's really about this game. So pretty cool advert. Michael Jordan sponsor us. Anyway, let's look at the Packers. Finally, we had an Aaron Jones game. Keep it coming, please. Please, Mike McCarthy. If you want to keep your job, I would give Aaron Jones the ball. You heard it here first. And then keep firing up Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams. I mean, it's just a match made in heaven.
Yeah, I mean, finally, Aaron Jones got more work. So hopefully he proved to McCarthy that they're way more competitive when he gets more than 10 carries. So this is only the second time this year he's gotten more than 8 carries, but he actually looked good in pass protection. So that was like the big concern. Like, is Aaron Jones letting up a lot of sacks on Aaron Rodgers? I don't think so. And now that Ty Montgomery's gone, I think he's going to get a lot more catches. This backfield it should be just Aaron Jones. I mean, Jamal Williams is horribly inefficient. Aaron Jones is always getting like 5.4 yards per carry, and I would play him now in the flex. I think in New England, it's a tough matchup. The only 100-yard rusher that New England let up so far was Kerryon Johnson, so just be aware of that. But I mean, if they want to be competitive in this game with New England, they need to run it and keep Tom Brady off the field. And then on the Patriots side, I mean, James White, you're plugging in the whole, like, every single week from now on. Sony Michel, you got to check his injury, but I'm guessing it'll be a game time decision. And then Green Bay, they've only given up at least two touchdowns to quarterbacks in every matchup except for Chicago in week 1 and Buffalo in week 4. So, I mean, Aaron Rodgers should have a bounce back week this week.
Just keeping in mind, I'm a Sony Michel owner in a couple leagues, and this week, I mean, obviously we knew he wasn't going to play, but they waited until after the Sunday night game started to fully announce that Sony Michel was going to be out this week, which everyone knew after the injury he wouldn't play for this week. So just based on what I know about Bill Belichick, they're going to wait until the last second, and you might as well have him on your bench now because they're probably going to sit him. It makes no sense to rush him back, and they're just going to hold out as long as possible. And they don't care about your fantasy team, so just keep that in mind.
Yeah, and Kenyon Barner, if you thought he was going to get carries, nope, sorry. Drop him. And then one other thing I want to mention is the Patriots they didn't trade for a wide receiver, but they were very vocal in wanting a Demaryius Thomas or Golden Tate or even Deshaun Jackson. They didn't get one of them. They have Josh Gordon, obviously, but I don't know. This is like a very under-the-radar story. Apparently, Josh Gordon was late to the bus or something, or late to the team facility for something, or practice, and they claimed they were going to bench him for the first quarter, and it didn't really come to fruition, but interesting nonetheless. I don't know if this is Josh Gordon's thing, if he's just late all the time, or if he doesn't give a shit, but if this happens again, I feel like you're going to be in Belichick's doghouse. Am I wrong on that?
Not wrong. I'm kind of surprised that they didn't sit him after all of that talk. I feel like I've seen that happen a million times with the Patriots, so maybe there was actually some sort of misunderstanding because there's no other explanation for them just forgetting about it. Outside of maybe they just don't have anyone else at this point, but I don't know.
I mean, if there's one game you're gonna bench him, it's the Bills. I mean, Tom Brady is 29-3 against the Bills. You could bench Josh Gordon against the Bills because you have so many other guys like Cordarrelle Patterson and Philip Dorsett. I don't know. Just keep an eye on him, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, keep it in mind, if I'm the Patriots, I just have someone following around and living next to Josh Gordon, so keeping him on track because
oh, absolutely,
they need
what Dallas did with Dez.
Exactly.
Keep a fucking bodyguard with him at all times. I don't care.
All right, let's look. Speaking of that, let's look at Dez's old team on the Monday night matchup with the Tennessee Titans, traveling to Dallas, taking on the Cowboys. How could this Monday night game get any worse? I guess Amari Cooper, that whole thing will be fun for 15 minutes before we remember Jason Garrett is the worst coach in the NFL. I forgot to mention his name earlier. He definitely should be on the hot seat. He probably isn't because, he just, is a yes man. But, Yikes. As far on the Titans side, hopefully this bye got them right. Can Deion Lewis build off his solid week 7 to Corey Davis get right? I'm not really holding my breath on either. I think that I don't want any part of this Titans offense moving forward. And then, again, all eyes are going to be on Cooper, but Zeke is going to eat in primetime. He's going to light up the Titans this week.
Yeah, and to go back to the Titans, Deion Lewis, so don't play Corey Davis, right? Don't play Derrick Henry. Just, don't get into, he just had a touchdown before their bye. Don't worry about it. He's not going to do it again. Deion Lewis, this is a tough matchup. The Cowboys have really fast linebackers, and some of the best linebacker core in the NFL right now. And this is like a bottom 5 defense against running backs. So it's a tough matchup. Just know that. And I don't think it's my 2 worst teams out of my 7. I have Deion Lewis on them. I don't think that's any coincidence. You're paying a 5th round pick for a guy that's getting 20 yards a game and then maybe gets like 80 randomly in a week. So I don't think you can afford to bench him unless you got like Philip Lindsay and James Conner on waivers. But just know the limitations of Deion Lewis going into this game.
Yeah, Deion Lewis, sponsor us.
Sponsor us.
Okay, let's get into this quick hitters. And we only have 2 this week. There's 3 primetime games and some pretty spicy matchups later on. So we're going to start with the Bears at the Bills. Bills are irrelevant. That's why they're here. The Bears are pretty good, and the Bills might have the worst offense in the history of the league. If Khalil Mack plays this week, this is without a doubt the top defense and special teams play of the week. On the Bears side, don't look now, but Tariq Cohen is kind of a running back 1, especially in PPR. And then on the Bills side, just I hope at some point they draft someone that makes them fantasy relevant, because this is not fun just listing them in the quick hitters every week.
Yeah, look at the Bills' defense. If you take away that Week 4 game against the Vikings, which is kind of like an anomaly, like we all kind of agreed, I don't think that happened. The Bills have given up at least 21 rushes and at least 72 yards per week with 6 touchdowns in 7 games. So this is before Monday night. I have to look at the stats of against New England, but they did let up a rushing touchdown against James White. James White somehow got 25 fucking PPR points. So the Bills' rush defense is not good. Tariq Cohen's going to eat in this game. And then, the Bills, nothing. Literally nothing.
All right, let's look at our hometown Jets going down to Miami to take on the Dolphins. And this game was very underwhelming for the Jets back in September. But since then, we've played some good NFC North teams. We've played every NFC North team except for Aaron Rodgers. And I hope that got us ready for the brocketing. The
brockenship.
Our running back situation is a little murky behind Crowell. Definitely some possible upside there, but I'm not sure what to make of it. I'm definitely skeptical about the offense as a whole. We're very banged up. Robbie Anderson, Quincy Enunwa, definitely questionable, looking like they're trending towards doubtful. Our defense, though, I think is a nice play. I think this could be an absolute slugfest, just sack after sack back and forth. And then on the Dolphin side, do not bite on the Devontae Parker trap.
Don't do it.
Yes, I know he had 134 yards, but
Don't do it.
One of them deflected off of another player's face mask or something. So that's just it's just a fluke.
That doesn't count. Take it away. Doesn't count.
Kenyon Drake, though, is definitely luring me back in, and I know you own him in a couple leagues. So what are you thinking about that?
Yeah, I almost lost to Rob because I played Kerryon Johnson over Kenyon Drake, and I don't know why I did that. So he's actually like a poor man's version of James White, if you want to think about it that way. He doesn't get a ton of carries. And usually there's a plotter in front of him, like Frank Gore for Miami, Sony Michel for New England. They're finding ways to get him the ball. Danny Amendola threw him that touchdown last week on Thursday night. It was kind of fluky, but they're still trying to get him the ball. He's clearly one of the most explosive guys on that team, especially with Albert Wilson out for the year now. So play him, keep on playing him. You got to put up with a game that he might have 3 carries for 3 yards and 2 catches for 0 yards, but that's why I benched him. But keep him in there. And then, Crowell is just boom or bust flex option at best right now. Last time he played Miami, it was 13 carries for 40 yards, uninspiring. Trenton Cannon is the backup behind him now. He's the pass catching back. He's actually pretty explosive. He's a backup kick returner as well. And he could have some deep league, PPR value in this game. This is at Miami. And keep in mind, the Bears at Miami, when Brock Osweiler was named the starter, we were the Bears are going to be the top play. They got -1 yards. That's a tough place to play. at Miami. It's going to be like 80 degrees as opposed to like 40 in New York. So keep that in the back burner. This is actually a tougher like away game than we might think.
Mailbag time. Let's go.
It's the mailbag. It's the mailbag. It's the mailbag show.
No,
We're actually going to do an entire. Sorry, we're actually going to do an entire new show just called Mailbag with Rob.
Have fun with that.
Where I just read questions from random people all over the world. So it's Mailbag. You know what that means? 10 minutes of heavy breathing, and then we go away. Are you guys ready?
Yeah.
Yes.
Hashtag heavy breathing. Hashtag heavy breathing Thursday. Hashtag
Breathing.
Oh my god, I almost just tore my microphone out of the holder. Oh shit. Hashtag tear your microphone out. All right. Our first question comes from Mick M in Brooklyn. What is the plural of moose?
Moosin', I think. That's what I'm going to guess.
No, I legit looked this up
meese?
like a week ago, and this came up when I was in physical therapy for my poor shoulder, and we were thinking of like homonyms,
Mice. Meese.
something. I don't know. The English teacher, you should know that what they're called, like words that. Never mind. Whatever. We were looking up a bunch of different words, and the plural of moose is just moose.
It's meese, I believe.
Mooses.
I believe the word is meese. Moosin.
Look at the moose come.
They're interchangeable.
Look at the moose coming.
Great question. Great question, Mick.
It's got my mind in a pretzel right now.
Really spurring debate.
Great question. Riveting.
Sorry we couldn't give you a better answer on that one, Mick. Next question comes from George C. in Manhattan. Curious to hear your opinions on Funyuns. Are they disgusting or delicious? Why is there such a large gap in opinion? What kind of people eat Funyuns?
Okay. Nostalgia.
Bosses.
Nostalgia. I love Funyuns. I haven't had Funyuns, I think, since like 8th grade. Here's what kind of people eat Funyuns. Middle school students. Because they are a top 5 snack when you're in middle school. I don't know why. I don't know the connection there. But that's what I just think of William T. Rogers Middle School. That's Funyun time for me.
Yeah, I agree. Right. I think like it's not. I feel like it's not cool to eat them now. Like now that we're older, like you bust up in a bag of Funyuns and it's like, oh, that's cool. Like that's you're like a middle schooler again, and it's like, I don't know, man. Like grow up. How old are you? You're 27 years old. Don't eat Funyuns. They're almost on the level of like when they get on your fingers, it's almost on the level of like Doritos.
Ooh,
but
the special dust.
Yeah, the magic dust, but they are easily top 5 chips for me.
But the Funyuns dust is like grease dust. It's like Funyuns were born in hell and they'll die in hell. That's my opinion.
Wow.
I think they were popular around middle school people because of the name. And if you're someone that's eating something with fun in the title and you're an adult,
right,
that's not a good look.
That's
no
way.
way.
Name. Yeah.
I disagree. Make Funyuns great again. Let's bring it back.
All right. We could try.
Make Funyuns socially acceptable again.
I don't like. Here's the other thing. I don't see them in stores though. I don't like see them in CVS or like
great point.
Grocery stores. Where are they? Are they in those? They're in. I know where they are. They're in the packs. Like, you know, the fun pack you got with like Fritos and like everyone would throw the Fritos out or just like they would be the last ones to go.
Similar. Not unlike Auntie Anne's.
As I was about to say.
Wow.
Funyuns. Oh my God.
They've been hidden away for a purpose.
What's the conspiracy theory there? Who's hiding
They've been contained. They've been contained to the multi-packs because if they were allowed to be sold individually,
would break the
they
economy.
might be too powerful.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We've cracked it. We've cracked the case.
Here's the thing, though. I don't think they're that good. I think they're extremely salty. And
Yeah,
I'm going to leave
are.
it at that. I don't think we should talk any more about it.
They should
I'm
have
afraid-
Funyun stands in malls.
I'm actually afraid. Don't ask me what I'm afraid of. Next question comes from Frank. Wow, all the way in Seattle. Frank T. from Seattle. What is the best fruit to eat in the night? I am looking for the night fruit only, please. Please hurry. Oh my God. Frank is in distress.
Please hurry.
He's looking for the night fruit only. Everything all right, buddy? You okay, Frank? I don't know. I like Frank.
The best fruit to eat in the night. Mango or maybe Pine's apple, I would say. One of those two.
So I'll tell you the
apple.
fruit that I hate eating at night is apples, like late night, like midnight or like 11 o'clock. Like that's not a fruit you eat late at night. I'll just throw that out there. So we'll do process of elimination.
Wait, so what is the best time to eat an apple? Because I feel like there is no good time for it.
I don't really like apples. Like people eat it in the morning. I don't like it in the morning. I like it at like 1 or 2 o'clock, like after lunch. You're like kind of digesting your food and you're like about to fall asleep at your desk or wherever you are. 2 o'clock.
I think an 11 a.m. apple is a nice choice. You know, it's sort of like in that gray area. Because nobody really knows when to eat an apple. It's just like you fit it in where you can.
Yeah, that's true. I feel like it's good for energy though. So maybe like right before, if you had like like if we're in high school and you had a soccer game at like 4, an apple would be good in like the afternoon. Keep you going a little bit, you know? But I'm going to say late night snack. I'm going to say, fruit. I'm going to say raspberries. I just love raspberries.
Oh, that's a bold choice.
That is
bold choice?
Right before you go to bed, that's going to wake you up. That's a lot of flavor. That is a pungent night fruit. If that is a night fruit.
I like to live dangerously.
I don't think bananas are night fruits. I think bananas are going to leave you. Bananas are going to leave you with a residue, and that's going to keep you awake.
Bananas might be pleasant to eat late at night, though. It's like a very soothing. Like,
I hate bananas.
flavor.
Bananas are my least favorite.
Okay. Never mind.
I think you want
get out of here with that take.
I think you want a cleansing fruit. You know, something that's going to wash away the day. I think pineapple's a good choice.
Yes, pineapple.
I think pineapple's a good choice because
I disagree with that
it's got a lot of juice. It's
Too
a nice
sweet.
fresh taste. It's going to wash away all of your worries and all of your stress.
I think it's too sweet.
And it's going to let you sleep at night. An apple is a little bit too much. I feel like a little too much effort. You know, you got to cut it open. Or actually, no. I guess you could eat the skin, but like it's not
Oh, wait.
satisfying.
You can't eat the skin of an apple? Really? No way.
I got to say, I love the term night fruit that has emerged from this discussion. So well done,
that's
Frank
a thing.
T.
We're making that a thing.
Thanks, Frank.
Thanks, Frank.
Okay, let's get into our Tiger Bomb spicy matchups. Sponsored by Tiger Bomb, we're looking at the Chiefs
Sponsor us.
at the absolute reality show that is the Cleveland Browns, and Pat Mahomes is going to keep these boys rolling in Cleveland. Right now, in our Tiger Bomb usage, this is when you first put it on, and it's feeling nice. It hasn't traveled around yet. It's gonna do exactly what you expect it to do, just like we expect the Chiefs to absolutely eviscerate the Browns. I love this word. I've used it in like every podcast so far. Just throwing it out there.
Eviscerate.
I mean, it's a very descriptive word. So that's what's going to happen here. The Chiefs are the rare 5 fantasy starter offense: Mahomes, Hunt, Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, and now Sammy Watkins, who I think is a must start in the flex spot. You know, they're all going to have a good game. Maybe one of them will wind up in single digits, just based on being the odd man out. But I mean, you want all of them in your lineup.
Yeah, and then on the Browns side, this is going to be a weird one because it's a new offensive coordinator. I think Greg Williams is the interim head coach. Is that right? The defensive coordinator?
That's when you know it's bad.
Yeah. I think they changed it. They named someone else the interim head coach like halfway through the day yesterday, and then the source is off, and then all of a sudden it was like, no, it's Greg Williams. It's like, okay. Yeah, but Nick Chubb, that dude can play. I'm glad they're getting him the ball. He's so much more explosive than Carlos Hyde was. No offense, Carlos Hyde. I still love you, man. But yeah, this is like one of the best matchups for him. Duke Johnson is not doing shit. He's droppable, honestly. I just dropped him in all the leagues that I picked him up in. And Nick Chubb, although he's not getting catches, he still should get 15 to 20 carries even in this game. Because it is at Cleveland. I don't want to the Chiefs are still going to win this game, but it's not going to be like a 40-point blowout. And then Jarvis Landry should have, he had 8 catches for 39 yards. That looked like a stat of a running back would have, like Isaiah Crowell or something like that. It was really weird. But he should have a good game. This is the bottom 3. They're bottom like 5 against wide receivers, and a ton of catch up. So
Yeah, typically when a team changes like leadership, they're going to lean on their studs and they're also going to lean on the run game. So I definitely like
and the
Chubb.
veterans.
Exactly. Yep. I really like Chubb and Landry moving forward. Let's look at the Falcons at the Redskins. The Tiger Bomb is starting to creep up. It's moving from your shin. It's above the knee somehow here, and it's getting a little bit dicey, right? So, look, this one I almost put in the quick.
Close.
I almost put this one in the quick hitter section, but I mean, it's not that great of a matchup. But I could just see Julio and Ridley dunking on the Skins. They're probably feeling themselves at 5-2, but I don't think they're that good. So I think the Falcons could really pull off an upset here. I'm curious what the 538 numbers say this week, but I really like the Falcons this week. Is AP back? I mean, this is my friendly reminder to all of you. Go trade for Darius Geis in your Dynasty Leagues, because if Adrian Peterson can have this value, just imagine what Darius Geis will do next year. I don't know. I mean, I love the Falcons wide receivers in this game. That's all I'm going to say. I think they're going to have a huge day against this Redskins D.
Yeah, the Redskins D just added HaHa Clinton Dix, so the passing game should get the passing defense should actually get a little better. It's going to take them some time to get acclimated, but they got DJ Swearinger. Now they have HaHa Clinton Dix. So it's actually not bad. Their cornerbacks aren't that good, so I agree. The wide receivers should have a good game. I think Tevin Coleman is the only play here. Ito Smith can't be played. But yeah, Redskins AP. Did you see that touchdown, that long run against the Giants? Because he was like limping into the end zone. That guy is like really hurt.
I thought he was going to get caught because it was almost like I felt pained watching him run.
Yeah, he did get caught in the end zone. It was like kind of nuts. But yeah, keep on playing him. I mean, he's until otherwise in standard leagues he's a running back too, and this is a pretty good matchup. This should be a pretty close one actually. 538. Let's us see what we got. What do you think it is? So it's at Washington. Keep that in mind.
I think the Redskins are probably heavily favored here because just the Falcons D is so beat up, but you can't bet against Julio Jones. I don't think Josh Norman is that good anymore. That's something no one's talking about, and I think Julio is going to just embarrass him this week.
Yeah, if you look at like the top 32 cornerbacks, like the top cornerback per team, he's in DVOA, I think it is, which is like defensive. I don't even know what it stands for. It's just like a cool defensive stat.
Defensive value OA. I don't know. I don't know what the last
OA. Yeah, that's good. Good. We had really good insight there. But yeah, he's like towards the bottom of like the starting cornerbacks, honestly. Yeah, so 538 has Atlanta 45% chance to win, Washington 55.
Okay.
A little closer than you think.
All right, let's look at the Texans at the Broncos. The Broncos breaking the cardinal rule of trading. Do not trade with the team you're about to play. Come on. This is going to be
true.
The instant Demaryius Thomas revenge game. There's no way that the Texans don't put him in the lineup. And I had typed in here, right, that the Fuller injury hurts Hopkins and it hurts Deshaun Watson, but this Demaryius Thomas, it will definitely help that ailment. I think this is not a half bad move for both of those guys. I think Hopkins is maybe the safety help is a little bit more shaded his way because, Demaryius Thomas does not have the speed of Will Fuller, but I don't know. It's definitely not as bad as it was a couple of days ago. So I'm very excited to see how he fits in there. And then on the Broncos side, Philip Lindsay. I mean, we talk about him every week. He's legit. And I think we already talked about Courtland Sutton, but he is, in spite of Philip Lindsay, the most talented rookie on this team. He is unreal. It's his time. I'm very excited that it came this quickly. Can't wait to watch him play.
Yeah, and for some reason they put Devontae Booker on the field when it's catch-up time. And we were looking at the stats of Philip Lindsay with catches. He's only had more than 3 catches once this year, so he is the kind of the pass catching back. But when they're in catch-up mode, it's Devontae Booker for some stupid reason. But yeah, Philip Lindsay is legit. I think he's a running back too the rest of the year. I don't think Royce Freeman's going to catch up, unfortunately, for our preseason prediction for him. But yeah, Courtland Sutton needs to be added in all leagues, like we said. And then to go back on the Texans, I don't think Demaryius has to. Is Demaryius even going to Houston, or is he just going to stay in Denver this whole week?
He might as well stay there. I mean,
he might as well stay in his house, right?
Yeah,
it's kind of silly to move. But yeah, Deshaun Watson is QB1 the rest of the way. This is a tough matchup at Denver, but Demaryius Thomas revenge game. Let's go.
All right, let's look at the Chargers going to Seattle to play the Seahawks. So we're looking at probably the worst home field advantage for the Chargers, going to probably the best, maybe outside of Arrowhead in Seattle. So that's definitely something to keep in mind.
Second loudest, yeah.
Pretty much every game's an away game for the Chargers, though, so they might be used to it at this point.
That's true.
I got to talk about the Seahawks. They're actually really solid this year. However, They're 4-3. They have an absolutely brutal schedule coming up. Starting this week, they have the Chargers, the Rams, Green Bay, Carolina, Minnesota, Kansas City. Yeah, they get San Francisco twice in Arizona, but I mean, if they don't win this week, it's not looking good for them. And it's very early to declare a game a must-win, but I think they're probably feeling that a little bit. I mean, Russ is Superman, plain and simple. Fantasy-wise, Chris Carson's been good, but the Seahawks need this game, so I really can see this being a tightly contested matchup here. On the Chargers side, hopefully Melvin's back for them, and Keenan Allen, that breakout's coming, I'm telling you. At some point, Rob will come to his senses and trade him to me for my kicker, but until then.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the Seahawks, like the magic they found a couple years ago was running the ball with Marshawn Lynch. And I don't even know who their backup was, but it was just Lynch all day. And Russell Wilson would make the throws and run when he needed to. But if you look at his stats this year, he's not running nearly as much, not getting hurt as much, right? That's what that means. He had 14 completions this past week against the Lions. 3 of them were touchdowns, which is an insane ratio, if you want to think about it that way. I think I was listening to the Ringer podcast, and they had said, I believe, that 8.8% of his completions are going for touchdowns.
Wow.
I think, which is like crazy, probably unsustainable, but he's on pace for a statistically like historic year if he keeps that ratio up. So I don't know that he's a sell high, but I think this is a run first team. They have Carson, they have Mike Davis, they have Rashad Penny, who they've drafted in the first round that's not even playing. So he's the third string here, which bodes well for their running game. Their offensive line is actually better. Wilson hasn't gotten sacked as much in these past few weeks, so this is this is a good team. But yeah, I think if you look at the defense, they were number one against wide receivers, and then Marvin Jones just busted through for 2 touchdowns. This is probably a Mike Williams or Tyrell Williams breakout game. One of them is going to get a touchdown. We don't know who. You look at Golden Tate, he just had 7 for 50 against them. So that's probably what Keenan Allen's going to do in this game.
Okay, let's get into our Game of the Week contenders. We start things off with the Buccaneers going to maybe my favorite city in the country, Charlotte, to take on the Carolina Panthers. And Fitzmagic is back. He's so
back.
Much better than Jameis. In our Google Doc, just for the you cuties out there, sometimes we like to italicize something really important. We italicized this, bolded it, underlined it, did the strike through, made it like size 48 font. He is so much better than Jameis. Sear that into your mind, and I really hope Dirk Cutter sears that into his mind as well. Fitz makes Mike Evans a top 5 wide receiver. He was closer to like that 8 to 12 range with Jameis, and I mean that says it all. All you need to know is that he makes that player that much better, and that's all. That's all the front office of the Bucs needs to know. Dirk Cutter seems like he gets it, so I'm very excited about this reversion back to Ryan Fitzpatrick. And then on the Panther side, Christian McCaffrey, finally a multi-touchdown game just in the nick of time, and then Cam's fantasy floor is just untouchable.
Yeah, really quickly about the Panthers. Funchess should get back on track after his toughest matchup of the year last week against the Ravens. So he only had 3 catches, but this week is such a better matchup. So play him. Don't worry about last week. It was an aberration. DJ Moore is also a sneaky deep league play. He had 6 for 90 and then a couple of carries as well. I want to talk about the Bucs. So you're absolutely right. Ryan Fitzpatrick makes everyone better. The tight ends, Cameron Brate and OJ Howard. You're not playing Brate, of course, but he's at least he's not even rosterable, but he's at least a little more interesting than with Jameis. And I have to double check these stats one more time. Since he entered the league, I want to talk about Jameis. Since he entered the league 4 years ago, first overall pick, he has had the second most turnovers in the league. Sean, can you guess who has the most turnovers? Last 4 years.
Oh, Eli Manning, maybe.
Close. Eli's up there. Want to give it another guess?
Give me one more guess. Give me 1 second to think about it. The most turnovers
in the past 4 years, right? So you're taking out rookies. Obviously, you're taking out rookies from last year, probably.
Oh man, and anyone that got hurt too, you got to take them out.
Yes. Yeah. Just think about underwhelming teams this year. Maybe someone got benched as well.
Oh, Blake Bortles.
Blake Bortles.
Oh, yep. Yeah.
So Blake Bortles has the most turnovers in the league in the last 4 years. And I have to double check this, but Jameis has the second most. Like, that's the level we're at with Jameis.
Yeah.
Like, he's not going to suddenly just turn, like, and here's the other thing. You look at it, just this is a broader thing, but Josh Allen, 55 or 52% completion percentage in college. Very small sample size so far, but doing about that in the pros. Cam Newton was never a huge completion percentage guy in college. Pretty much the same in the NFL. They've just developed ways to get him the ball, and he's an athletic freak. Jameis Winston turned the ball over a ton in college. A ton. And yet still went first overall just because teams are like, the Bucs are like, yeah, no, we could work with that. We could work with the moments of brilliance. You can't work with the moments of brilliance when you're down 20-something points and then Fitzpatrick brings you back with 12 or, I don't know, 18 throws and 2 touchdowns. It was insane. So Fitzmagic needs to keep on going the rest of the year. And they're going to have a really interesting decision at the end of this year if they want to keep Jameis or not. I think it's $21 million to keep him next year.
No, thank you.
Yeah, no, I'm good. I can honestly see him going to like Dallas because Dak is coming up on a renewal too, and Dak's going to be expensive. So the Cowboys have to figure out what they want to do. It's going to be very interesting with quarterbacks next year. But yeah, Jameis is just. And there's another stat. I'll try to look it up while we're doing another game and get back to it at the end of this segment. But yeah, this game, the Bucs and the Panthers. The Bucs have a 24% chance to win. Panthers 76, according to 538.
Yeah, and the Panthers really need this game to keep up with Drew Brees and the Saints. So just keep that in mind. It's similar to the Seahawks, right? They need this. They're trying to keep pace in that NFC wildcard race, and it should be a good one regardless. Let's look at the Steelers at the Ravens, the class of the AFC North. I mean, I know Cincinnati's in there, but these two teams are always at the top of that division, and this has a little bit of sneaky shootout potential. I think a big John Brown, Michael Crabtree game is brewing. I know the Steelers' pass rush has been phenomenal, but look, the Ravens are going to have to throw the ball around the yard in order to keep up with the Steelers, so could be a really fun game. You cannot forget, people are sleeping on Antonio Brown. He's been rolling the last few weeks, and no one is saying anything about it. This is going to continue here. No one, even Jimmy Smith and the Ravens, amazing pass defense. Nobody can keep this guy in check. He's going to have a good game, and I think Juju could have a decent game here too.
Yeah, it is a tough matchup for those two. Don't forget. And DJ Moore and Devin Funchess combined for 120 yards last week, so not bad, but not great. Yeah, it's a tough matchup. So I think Juju is actually going to have a tougher matchup than AB, obviously, and Jimmy Smith is questionable, I believe, for this game. So keep that in mind if you want to look that up. Before game time, that's an interesting, thought process there. But another thing to keep in mind is Le'Veon Bell, James Conner, they don't need Le'Veon Bell right now at this point, but Bell needs to play at least 6 games, I believe, to have a full season, to where he registers a full season. And I think the reason he's holding out or held out past the trade deadline is because they can't trade him unless he signs the franchise tender. So if he holds out until after the trade deadline, he's locking the Steelers up. He's not moving, and the Steelers have no choice but to he has no choice but to sign with the Steelers, play with them. So he's going to come back eventually, and it probably is going to be this week or next week, I'm assuming.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a whole thing where they kind of want to put him on a 2-week exemption list. So he would probably, if he's going to assume they're still going to try to do that, he would have to come in this week. So he's kind of gambling if he doesn't. So I guess we'll see what happens in the next couple of weeks. I will say, though, James Conner owners, I know it's been fun, but eventually things are going to get a little bit more interesting.
Dicey.
Yeah, exactly.
And this game is 54% chance to Baltimore, 46% chance to Pittsburgh. It's always a good matchup, though.
Oh, yeah. Let's look at another divisional matchup. We have the NFC North here. The Lions traveling to Minnesota to take on the Vikings. And I think similar to the Lions and the Panthers, right? Similar to the Seahawks and the Panthers, the Lions are in a very interesting spot. They're not too far off the wild card race, but they got to keep pace in their division. They got Aaron Rodgers and Minnesota and Chicago, so they really need a couple wins here. I don't think it matters. I think the Vikings are going to throttle them at home here. I think while Kerryon is a breath of fresh air for that offense, and as much as I like Marvin Jones and Kenny Galladay, I don't know. I still don't see them beating the Vikings here. About Kerryon, though, I think we mentioned it once already. He feels like a 3rd or 4th round pick next year. I think he could be a bell cow, and he could be a really good player for them for the next few years. Am I nuts to think that?
No, I think he reminds me of a lot of Kenyon Drake last year with the Dolphins.
Okay.
So he kind of came out of nowhere. He was a high draft pick, but they didn't know how to use him in the beginning of the year. They had some other rushers there that were kind of clogging up the backfield, if you will. And not that they came out of nowhere, but they kind of did. And Kenyon Drake was like 40th overall on average. So I could see him being like a 5th or 6th round pick, depending on how he does the rest of the year. But I think in this game, a sneaky deep league play is Theo Riddick. So I'm not telling everyone to go pick him up, but getting rid of Golden Tate, I think in my mind kind of hurts the Lions. Like I know he's 30 and he's coming up on the last year of his deal. I think it was like 5 years for $30 million, which is not too bad. 5 for 40 or something. But Stafford just lost a pretty big weapon. So Theo Riddick might get the ball in pass catching situations. Same with Carry-On. And then the Vikings, there's something about Kirk Cousins. I love Kirk Cousins, but it doesn't feel like they're going to win a Super Bowl ever with him, to be honest with you.
I kind of feel that. I feel I see what you're saying there. I don't know.
Yeah. I just don't see him like he's not statistically he is an elite guy. But if you really watch the games, he lets a lot of throws get away from him, plays a lot of catch up. And I know the defense is is not nearly the level it was last year. Everson Griffin came back, but didn't have a great game this past week against the Saints. It was the Saints offense. What are you going to do? But I don't know. It doesn't feel like this team is as elite as we thought they were going to be coming into the year. Yeah,
and that all comes down to the defense, right? So, I mean, the offense has been much better than advertised, honestly, and Kirk Cousins has been as advertised, but it doesn't matter if the defense is going to take as big a step back as they have. I mean, as far as fantasy-wise, this is another one of those, elusive 5-starter offenses. As long as Latavius Murray's putting the ball in the end zone, you got to start him. And,
yeah.
Obviously the receivers, Rudolph the tight end, and Kirk Cousins, they're all starters. I cannot even imagine the offensive ceiling if there was a healthy Dalvin Cook here. Oh, wait, I can. It's literally the Rams. Dalvin Cook, please get on the field, because this team could take another jump when he gets on the field, which is just scary.
Yeah, he's just looking like an NFL bust right so far. He just can't stay healthy. And I get it was an ACL tear. He can't do anything about it. This is a hamstring pull. He feels 100%, but he's still scared, and that's not a good place for a running back to be in. And I have a feeling they're just going to rule him out again this week, and their bye is next week. So why would you rush him back when Latavius is doing well and he's killing it in pass catching back, downs too? Just sit him out until the bye week, and then hopefully he's completely healthy 2 weeks later.
I know I went on a mini rant about Lincoln Riley earlier, but I got to give John DeFilippo some credit here for this Vikings offense. He has been an outstanding play caller for them this year. That passing offense is no joke. That's all I got to say about that. Let's move on to probably still the top 2, maybe 2 of the top 5 offensive minds in the game with this next game of the fucking year. Maybe not just game of the week, game of the year. You're undefeated.
NFC Championship game?
Absolutely. The 8-0 LA Rams traveling to the New Orleans Dome to take on Drew Brees and the Saints. And again, the play designs alone here are going to have me. They just have me so fired up. Sean McVay on one side, Sean Payton on the other side. It's a good week to be a Sean, absolutely. The Rams, Gurley is going against the best rushing D in the league. And that's the key to this matchup, but I don't see him slowing down at all. No one's stopping that train. And then on the other side, this game it matches up very well for Alvin Kamara. I think we see 2 first-round fantasy running backs going back and forth. This could be a really fun game to watch.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, you're playing all the Rams. Cooper Kupp hopefully will come back this week, but not sure. The Rams have a tough schedule coming up, like the team itself, and this is a tough game. Yes, they were just home, but they just had 3 away games, and then they played Green Bay at home, which is a tough matchup, really close one. At New Orleans, then home versus Seattle, then home versus Kansas City, then a bye. Then you got Detroit and Chicago, which are cushier than the Eagles, and then you got Arizona and San Francisco. Those are 2 wins, but some like a stretch of pretty tough games. I think the Rams are going to come away with this one, but the Green Bay game was really close last week, so this could actually, this could very well be the game the Rams lose so far. And I think New Orleans is 59% chance to win in 538. That's interesting. Wow. I think one good matchup is actually Mark Ingram. He's been kind of underwhelming except for his first week back, but he's a similar runner to Aaron Jones. He's pretty explosive, so he could break 1 or 2 big runs like Aaron Jones just did last week. So I'd play him and have some confidence as a running back too.
All right, and that wraps up the Week 9 preview. That's episode number 42. I cannot believe 42. We are this far in. We've recorded 42 episodes.
That's a lot of freaking content for the.
I just want to thank the billions and billions of subscribers that we have for rating us the number one podcast in the New York Times.
I saw that. That's awesome. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, that was crazy when we were on the front page of the New York Times.
Correct.
And not only that, we won most liked podcast by NPR. And Sean, did you want to say something?
I just wanted to. I mean, we can't go any further without thanking our amazing sponsors: Tiger Balm, Auntie Anne's, Funyuns, Deion Lewis,
Doritos. Well, they used to be last year when we had the Cool Ranch Player of the Week, but not anymore.
And we can't forget our favorite sponsor of all time, Thompson Teas.
Oh yes,
Thompson Teas. Thank you for making us
keeping us
disgusting.
Cool when things got hot.
Oh, wow.
I mean,
we're done.
They should really be hiring me to do commercials.
That was great. No more words after that. That was hot.
Yeah. Episode 42. It felt like a momentous occasion. 42, it's just that number. We might as well thank everybody. So thank you guys.
Thanks.
But you know what? If you want to thank us, you should do that in the review section on iTunes.
Yes, what a segue, Rob.
Because, and I'm going to get on my high horse here. I'm going to get up on the podium because we do this for free, okay? We get up on these mics every week. We're staying up late, editing, getting up early, posting it, working on the scripts, working on making it sound good for you.
Everything.
I'm doing it. I'm riding in a car on a highway in the woods recording an episode. You don't even know, people. You don't even know.
Passing the meese and the moosin'.
Moose.
Yeah. Dealing with the Mises and the Mooses. And
we spent hours on this doc for content, hours a week.
Yep. These guys are slaving away every week, putting in the work to give you the best advice you can get and help you guys win and hopefully win some money in your leagues. So leave us a review on iTunes. We appreciate your listening. We love you. You cuties. You guys are beautiful.
Gorgeous.
Beautiful.
Love
You're
it.
beautiful.
See you later, you gorgeous, you cuties.
Well, see you later.
See you later.